Hello, welcome to this demonstration game of Come Dice with Me. We'll be playing through a full game of Come Dice with Me with 4 people, who are the people we see here. Everyone introduce yourselves. I'm Kieran.
I'm Al. Sorry.
We're doing the old traditional.
This is the sort of level of professionalism we like on this kind of stuff. And who are you in the bottom right corner of the screen?
Right, that's me. I am Chrissy. Hello.
Hey.
I didn't think I'd have to learn my lefts and rights for this game. I thought it was more simple than that.
It's very threatening. I apologise. It's
fine. It's fine. It's going to give me a primary school education. It's what I've always wanted.
Right.
I'm Ella. Hello.
Right. Come Dice with Me is a competitive. It's a game. It's a role-playing game based upon a competitive dining show thing. We're all going to play. All the players, including me, are going to play contestants. A contestant is somebody who's going to throw a dinner party for all the other groups. At the end of each of these dinner parties, all the other players, apart from the person running the party, who we call the host, is going to mark it. At the end of the week, the person with the most marks wins. It's worth noting these contestants are competing. The players are absolutely collaborating to make the most entertaining and or ludicrous story we can. And that's basically it. That's basically the core kind of things. I'm basically kind of facilitating the game. They call me the director, so I'm going to do some stuff like pointing at players. And the game basically generally follows the players responding to questions. And we kind of build from there. First thing we do is we're going to generate who we're going to play. First thing we've got to do is, where is our party going to be based? Al, could you roll 1 dice twice, please?
Okay. I've got a 3 and a 6.
How do you feel about Swansea? Has anybody got any objections to playing a game in Swansea?
I went to uni in Swansea.
Excellent. That seems perfect. I'll work for it. Like, this is actually more than the game, but when I'm running a game, I use something called the X card. The X card is basically if anyone wants to basically not have something happen, we dial back and go a different direction for any reason. They just either say X or do like a pretend to be Cyclops in X-Men comics, or write X in the chat or whatever. That's just a general thing I do in games for safety. Okay, we're going to play in Swansea. Right. The next thing we're going to do is generate who on earth we are. So everyone can do this. We've got a table 2 here, and the first table describes the first 2 dice roll will describe what you're like. For example, you might be paranoid or straight talking or similar. And the second one is kind of what your job is. So everyone rolls. Feel free to say yours aloud, but if not, write it down in your character sheet.
I'm glamorous.
Excellent. Oh no, I'm fun-loving.
I'm spooky.
Spooky is what we replaced creepy with from the playtest, by the way.
I was wondering.
Oh
my god.
If anybody doesn't like what you've rolled, decide I'm not in for that, feel free to re-roll.
Oh.
This is the sort of game we really care about. Oh my god, I'm a fun-loving writer. Isn't that a contradiction? Isn't that a contradiction in terms?
Oh dear.
I'm a glamorous butcher.
I'll butcher. I better re-roll. Okay. Right. I'm now a cook, a spooky cook.
No.
I've been rolling a lot of 2s.
I rolled theatrical writer, but I'm going to re-roll writer because I don't think we should have 2 writers.
Cool.
Theatrical journalist? That feels pretty close to writer. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, fuck it.
It's a theatrical journalist and fun-loving writer. They're going to get each other's nose, I think, because that's quite fun. You know what I mean? Because that fun-loving writer doesn't imply I'm just going to write joke books. You know what I mean? It's not... Okay, let's see how that works. Next thing we do is we generate where we're from, which is a table where we roll a dice. And this basically, if you roll 1 to 3, you are from Swansea, or wherever you were from in the game. If you roll 4 to 5, you're from another town in the country. You can either choose or I'll choose for you. Or if you roll a 6, you're from another country entirely. So I'm I'm also from Swansea.
I'm also from Swansea.
Excellent.
I am also from Swansea.
Yep.
I rolled a 6, so
You're from another country. Have you got a particular preference?
well, I'm half Italian, so I might just say Italy for the sake of trying not to do anything that's gonna get weird too quickly. At least it's familiar to
That
me.
sounds good. That sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Next on the list of things we have to generate is things we like and dislike. Robert, these are things we dislike. These are ways we write down but keep them secret. They can be kind of revealed. They're normally like foods you don't like. So in other words, they'll be revealed when actually you eat. For example, if you don't like sausage meat and the meal involves sausages, you're probably going to go not like it because it's disgusting. I do like sausage meat, so anyone at home needs to know that. If you roll the same thing, you can write it down twice, and meaning you really hate it, or re-roll, depending how you feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the ruling on the roll twice thing?
It's been changed.
Right.
In the original game, we actually had I've changed all the sheets. Originally, there was like a roll twice option, but as it is, I've just made up 2 more things because I've decided I was just being lazy.
Okay, so I think then I'm not using the most recent version of the sheets.
What numbers did you roll? Oh no, I said that's secret as well. Let me I mailed you a PDF on WhatsApp, like the layout one.
Cool.
Or I can just pull up the table and share it using the magic of this.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
This is the table we're using. This might be handy for people playing along at home. Cool.
Aha, great, cool.
Fantastic. Right. Next, anyone want to be a vegetarian? It's worth like vegetarian basically will extend the game slightly, so it's an option. But it's also like some people just don't want to role play and want to eat meat. I'm fine with being a meat eater. Anyone got any particular calls? No, I think we're good. I think there's no vegetarians. There's an option if you want to just decide if you're a vegetarian randomly. We can roll a dice. If you roll a 6, you're a vegetarian, or a pescatarian, or a vegan. You decide. Now we've got some basic details. We just decide your character's name and like any your pronouns, and just have a quick think about like what kind of person would a fun-loving writer from Swansea be. In my case, so sort of just chew that over, and then we move on to doing our menu. Like this is all kind of at the same time, so we sort of say it at once. The menu is basically what's going to be your dinner party. So it involves a starter, a main, a dessert, an entertainment, which is something amusing people do in the night, and a dress code. The courses can be. It's worth noting, your knowledge of food does not bear into whether this meal is any good at all. I would recommend try to play it straight. Just think about really what your character would try to do in a dinner party to impress somebody. But you can just use titles. You could say like Chef's Chicken Surprise. That's a perfectly acceptable title. In fact, Chef's Surprise is a good enough title. You could when we get to the meals, you'll get to add more details. That's the kind of the area we have there. The entertainment, I said, it's just can be anything. It could be as simple as a game of Twister. It could be as complicated as hiring an ABBA tribute band who plays stuff in a thrash style, the band Abattoir, or can be anything. And the dress code, just like one word, like glamorous or 1920s, or fancy or something similar to that. Get rid of that.
And what order are we doing the dinner parties in again? Did you say?
I haven't got to that yet, but we'll be doing it starting with Al and moving around clockwise. The general order of everything in the game is clockwise from whoever's turn it is, and it'll start with Al because he's clockwise from me, because I am the director.
I bet I can't run any then.
Let me just decide my character. I almost call myself Tom Jones. I thought that's a good Welsh name, but it is Tom Jones's name. Not my course. I've actually just forgot all forms of foodstuffs.
Sorry. This game is already so stupid, it's delightful.
Was it Fun Loving Roach was a bit too close to me in some ways.
Fun loving. Has anyone read your comics?
Yeah, pun loving writer Kieran Gillen. What would you have? What would you have for a name?
Something that explodes out of another thing.
Yeah. That'll do. Sorry.
I'm trying to figure out a fancy name for my meals, and I can't come up with anything.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I've given up and gone for terrible. That must it. Mine are all terrible puns. No, actually, look at it.
Oh, I'm trying to think of some fancy stuff.
Oh, these are terrible puns. Right, I'm good. I'm ready. If anyone else is.
I'm nearly there.
This is what, as a demonstration, it's like, here's the demonstration. Here's 4 people writing stuff down for 5 minutes. It's whether or not this is about the act. For people listening on at home, this is kind of about the length of time people take. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's slower. I mean, we've been basically doing it for 15 minutes, and about 15 minutes to set up the game seems about right for like how I've ended up playing it. It can be a bit shorter, but it can be actually. Sometimes it's very much longer if players are really want more explanation, but you know, this is normally about the right amount of time.
Okay.
Chrissy, you can change your character's name if you like, by the way.
Oh, how do I do that on my iPad?
I can do it for you if you like.
I need a surname. Okay, can you change my name to Maria Torino?
Trino, yeah?
Yep. Honestly, between being half Italian and the fact that I actually went to uni in Swansea, there's going to be a lot of bleed in this game. Is what I'm saying.
What's it?
And that time that I was in a competitive dining RPG thing. Oh, never mind.
This is excellent. Well done. Everyone's doing amazingly here. We're going to move on to the nights. We're going to now go for the 4 nights. This is now Monday night. This basically sequences. We start here, and then what we're about to do repeats for each player. And it takes about half an hour for each person. With 4 players, it might be a bit less, which is nice. So we hopefully extra punchy. Right. First and of course, there's a lovely cheat sheet on the back of the rules. They didn't apply. First of all, we reveal the menu. But will Bernard Toombs, who is the first host, read their menu?
Right. Well, for a starter, you have Dead Man's Broth. The main is the Vampire's Feast. And for dessert, it's Creatures of the Night, what muesli they make.
And what's the dress code?
Dress code is Halloween.
Fantastic. Now, all the players will get a chance to respond. When we respond, we do it in clockwise order from the host. So, Chrissy as Maria, any initial responses to that menu?
Oh, this sounds like someone very mysterious. Interested to get to the bottom of who this person is. Something very creepy about all this. I think I like it.
Ella, how do you pronounce your character's name, by the way?
Mavanwi.
Mavanwi. Got it. I won't have it. Mavanwi.
Well, I mean, it's certainly interesting. I am intrigued to see whether or not this individual can live up to the high ambition of their menu.
Excellent. I like it. This looks like a good time. Like, honestly, like these are some top quality puns. I immediately feel like I'm going to like this person. I think it's someone who is maybe exactly like me. It sounds like I can't wait for tonight. Then the evening begins. Basically, Al as Bernard. First, he has to we basically all are going to introduce ourselves arriving in the evening. So Al's going to be first describing the house and what Bernard's wearing. But the thing we all do when we introduce ourselves is we have a little ritualized phrase. We list out some of our details from the sheet, which are like the character things we've generated. So, for example, I don't know, I forgot what Al has written. Maybe something like, here's fun-loving writer Kieran Gillen. And feel free to add as many or as few as the words as you want as you go through the game. So, Al, could you do your introduction of your character and then describe your house and your general appearance and demeanour?
Here's the spooky cook, Bernard Toombs, who lives in a very small apartment in quite a rundown area of Swansea. It's heavily decorated with both spooky things like posters from famous horror movies, and there's a lot of sort of black furnishings and red walls. But what there also is a number of mementos from his time as a not very famous television chef in the 90s, when he attempted to combine cookery with spooky horror. And yeah, that didn't go anywhere. And that was the best time of his life. So Bernard is wearing a Dracula cape and a sort of crisp white funereal shirt and some slightly tatty black trousers. And he's got sort of a longish ponytail and a generally gaunt demeanor. So there we go. That's Bernard.
Well, I hope all of us get out of here alive. Now we actually respond, as I said, in order of clockwise from Al. Maria, do you want to do your introduction and then describe your arrival and what you're wearing?
Yeah. So here comes Maria Torino, a theatrical journalist originally from Italy. She is wearing a professional-looking black dress with a witch's hat. She's not gone sexy, but she's gone professional Halloween rather than too spooky. She on arrival, she just immediately, I think, looks around and just like pulls her bag slightly closer to her.
Fantastic. Mavani?
So here comes the glamorous butcher and self-made woman, Mavanwi Charcuterie from Swansea. And she is wearing a big red silk dress, a lot like the costume of the evil lady, whose name I believe is Lucille, in Crimson Peak. She is like basically just bought as close as she could get to that, and she's got like long gloves on, and she kind of comes in with her head held high, and she sort of looks down her nose at a bit of the memorabilia, and then just sort of tries to find a place to stand without messing up her skirts.
Nice. Anyway, here comes fun-loving writer Joseph Jones, who walks. He's got this kind of walk like this, and that's the kind of game. He's dressed like the Joker, but it's the 1960s Joker because that's the fun one, as he would say to camera. And he's bringing a nice bottle of red wine along for Bernard Toombs, but it's not really red wine; it's really Ribena, and he's changed it. Like little practical joke to start the week off in a way. Right, we're all arrived. We're sitting down now. The next bit is we have to find a mysterious object around the house as we explore it. There's a thing we call the next player in the rules. So in other words, whenever a next player question is asked, the next player around from Al answers it. Unless they've already answered one, then the next person. For example, in this case, being the first next player question, Chrissy's going to answer it. Then the next time a next player question happens, it will be Ella, and so on. And that resets every time the host changes. And of course, we skip Al because he's not going to be never going to respond to a question like this. That sounds great. So, Chrissy, do you want to describe what you how you discovered something around the house, and what you discovered?
Yes, obviously, as part of my job as a journalist is to root out interesting things wherever I find them. And the most unusual thing that I could find in Bernard's bedroom was this. So I'm being theatrical. Small Labrador. Oh, this has already got really dark. Sorry.
No,
it's a taxidermied Labrador. And I was going to say puppy, but that's too much for me. So I'm going to widen my hands and make it a bit bigger so it's a grown taxidermied Labrador. And it looks adorable. It's not black. It's just a golden, fluffy, cute taxidermied Labrador.
Okay, there's nothing at all. It's just a taxidermied dog. I wonder what the explanation of that is. And we'll find out later. Okay, now we get down to the first course of the evening. I said there's 3 courses. The starter first happens. Now, Al, could you describe what is the starter? Tell us what's in it.
Well, it's called Dead Man's Broth, but what it actually is it's a thick green pea soup with some nice chunks of blood sausage in it.
Mm. That sounds great. Now, we see how what on earth could possibly go wrong with a meal that simple? I'll tell you. What we do now is roll a d6, or a 6-sided dice, as we normal people would call it. The lower the number Al rolls, the better that meal is. Al, roll, see what number it is.
Rolling a 1.
A 1 means it's a first-class meal. That means nothing's gone wrong with it, and it's perfect. In which case, you might imagine if something goes wrong with it, something else might happen. We'll get to that shortly, I suspect. Now we have to... Al, it's gone perfect. No problems whatsoever. Now we all have to make a roll to see how much we like it. We roll a dice, and if you add a number, if one of the words on your one of the details on your sheet makes you more likely to like it. For example, if I had likes blood sausage on my sheet, I would increase whatever number I rolled by 1. Or if I had hate blood sausage on my sheet, I would subtract 1 from it. So in other words, if this is rolled a 1, it's very likely in this case we're going to all like it. But it's also the difference between the two might give you a clue. Right. In this first run round, everyone just sort of say your number. So, and we'll start with Maria. We'll read our responses. Cool. Maria, what did you roll?
I got a 5.
That's great. 5 being above 1 by quite a lot means you probably quite like it a lot. Did you modify it by anything based upon your details? Fantastic. Describe Maria's reaction.
Well, even though I'm still holding my bag quite close to my upper torso, not having quite figured out who Bernard is, I've got to say one thing I do know he is a great cook. Dead man's broth is a winning dish for me.
What did Mavani roll?
I rolled a 1. So, yeah. And I did consider subtracting 1 because I am glamorous and I'm not sure how glamorous broth is. But I've decided that since obviously it was a perfect meal, I'm going to assume that all of the ingredients were first-class ingredients and therefore that sort of elevates it to the standard to which I am accustomed. So I think it's perfectly adequate.
Yeah.
Right, and I rolled a 4, which is 3 above 1, so I like it quite a lot. And in which case I'll go, right. The sort of space out. It's just a soup, but there's so much going on. It's like, you're that kind of person who arrives at a party and everyone loves. That kind of guy. That kind of guy. Well, that soup is the equivalent of a guy you really like and are very glad at your dinner party, such as, for example, me. Bernard's a real contender here. Now, first course, Al, what does Bernard think? How did the first course went for you?
Well, Bernard's very quietly happy. Oh, I thought that went very well. It was a soup I cooked on my first television show, and everyone liked it then. And then things went wrong. But I'm glad they enjoyed it.
I do like the idea of this. The sort of Elvira meets Alan Partridge in this kind of aspect.
It's bringing back some bad memories for Bernard.
Now we go on to between the two courses. Maria gets to ask Bernard about the mysterious object she found.
No.
Yes, Bernard, I couldn't help but notice in pride of place on your bedside dresser this fully grown taxidermied golden Labrador. Can you tell us about that, Bernard?
Yes. Oh, Bernard looks a little upset that you've brought up an old private pain, one of many. He's like, oh yes, that was my lovely dog Nigel. He died of eating a meal I prepared for him. It was full of chocolates. It went very badly for him. I hadn't looked up whether dogs like that, and they don't. So, but we'll be talking to him later.
Right. One of the things that's worth noting is we've got these details on our sheet. Anytime a player does a bit of story, which seems to justify adding a word, that we all like the food. It didn't really seem to be a reason to add anything. If I'd said something, I really like sausage, I might have added sausage loving to my sheet, for example. However, Al having just described Bernard's response to the dog, is there anything in that sort of narrative makes us think there should be another word?
I've added killed his dog.
Yes, that's a good. I think it's worth noting. Al always gets to decide whether to add it or not. Anything else apart from killed his dog?
I want to pitch that every time someone serves you chocolate, you should deduct a point because it makes you sad thinking about your dead dog that you killed.
Chocolate grieving.
Dislikes chocolate, and also I think I'll just add the word sad because he seems generally sad.
Yes, this is great. Yeah,
generally morose.
Oh dear. This game is now depressing me already. It's Sunday afternoon and we're all like dealing with the imaginary grief of a failed TV host.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anyway, now we go to the main course. Bernard, please tell us what we're going to have for the main course.
The main course is where Bernard pushed the boat out because everyone's getting a deep fried bat. Deep fried in 59 spices. With fries, halloumi, and garlic mushrooms.
Sounds marvellous. What could possibly go wrong? Al, roll the dice. What went wrong?
Let's find out. I rolled a 4.
A 4 means something goes a little bit wrong. Basically, it's 1, 2 means nothing goes wrong. 3, 4 means something minor goes wrong. For example, you might have overcooked it. You might have burned it. Something like feasible and normal. If you roll a 5 or a 6, it means something majorly has gone wrong. The person who gets to tell you what went wrong is the next player. The next player, in this case, Chrissy was the last next player, which means that Ella is the next player. Ella, tell us what went wrong with Bernard's dish.
So I think he lost count of the number of spices. And I think where this was supposed to be a 59 spice vampire feast. It actually turned into a 69 spice vampire feast. And those last 10 spices are not as complimentary as the other 59.
Yes.
Oh, so the spice coding is a little bit weird. I'm gonna have to.
But it's worth noting, now Al has to describe how he tries to cover up whatever went wrong.
I feel like all I can do is add more spices to balance things out. So it's going to be quite a spicy coating, but hopefully there'll be enough like extra heat there to kind of balance it out. But it's gone from being like the Colonel's recipe to more of a Nando's, quite a hot Nando's.
Yeah, I've got the image of like they actually get in on the show. The camera's going to go around. It's going to be like you adding stuff to a cauldron, and they're going to play spooky music as if you were like an evil alchemist or something.
That is how it is.
Brilliant. Right. So what did you roll? It was a 4.
I did, yes.
Right. Now all of us roll. Again, we'll talk on maths and say our response, just because that's the teaching video. It's worth noting that quite often we're playing the game, we don't say our maths because it's simple enough to, it's fun. It's more fun to just go straight in. Right.
So I just start giving my response. Yeah.
Please. Sorry.
Well, this is the first time I've ever eaten bat. Perhaps it will be the last time. I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't think it would be as spicy as it was, but I've got to tell you, it was exactly the right amount of spice for me. I thought it was amazing. Bernard is really pulling out all the stops. What an amazing meal.
Do you want to add maybe likes enormous amounts of spice or something?
Sure.
Right. Mavani?
Well, once again, I mean, this started out adequate. I quite enjoyed how exotic the bat was, but I mean, it tastes like dust, and I don't mean that in a good, rarefied way. I mean, it literally tastes like dust. There is so much spice on this that she kind of gets her teaspoon and like lifts up just like a layer of sediment from the bat that I can't taste the exotic bat that I don't normally get to eat. So I'm afraid this is less than adequate.
No. That's pretty right. Right, me. I rolled a 2, which is obviously I hate it anyway. But I also have the what's that called? Detail on my sheet saying I hate cheese. Also, anything I hate. Also, I hate anything from a cute animal. So I don't think bats count as a cute animal. Sadly, depends how cute the bat is, I guess.
Haven't you seen those videos of the bats upside down where they look like they're dancing in the nightclub? Yeah, no.
Yeah,
fruit bats are really cute. Fruit bats are incredibly cute.
That's the table has spoken.
Well,
so my total is
so.
My total is 0 versus 4, so I absolutely despise this. I said I just don't. I just like go back to the honestly, I don't like bats in that way. Like I'm dressed like the Joker because I really empathise with the Joker in that I hate bats are my enemy. So the idea of someone I like fun as much as the next guy, but this isn't fun. This is like a mortal insult by my I just can't be having it.
So now you have to add to your character sheet hater of bats,
yes,
and also possibly Kins the Joker.
Yes, hater of bats, Joker obsessed. Oh dear, this is going to get me into trouble. I think somehow, depending on how much I lean into this. Okay, fantastic. Well, Bernard, what do you think of that course? How did that go for you?
I mean, Bernard's holding back the tears. He's very, he's sort of clinging on to, I'm clinging on to Maria's good review of it. I feel terrible for having offended Joseph like that. Oh, and I knew all the bats. I knew them personally. So it was a great sacrifice to me. So I'm sorry it went so badly. He lets a single tear escape as he hurries back to the kitchen so no one will see.
Oh dear. Anyway, next up is the entertainment.
Very sad.
Very sad. Next up is the entertainment. Entertainment is basically Al describes the entertainment in any way he chooses, and then we work out if we like it or not. Which is, here's the spoilers. If you roll 4+, we like it. If you roll 3-, we dislike it. Yes, it's completely random. Al, please.
Well, Bernard is quite quite poor and has no room in his house, so everybody stays at the table, and Bernard gets out a Ouija board to contact the dead. He's hoping to speak to his dog, but really, any of the dead will do. Please place your hands on the planchette. We'll contact the spirits.
That's okay. Do we like it, Maria? So everyone roll, and if we roll 4+, we like it. 3- we dislike it.
This just in, Ouija boards are amazing. This man cares so deeply about his dead dog that he wanted all of us to join in trying to contact it on the other side. I, for one, am impressed. Hats off to you, Bernard.
Right. Mavani,
there's kind of a moment where like she's trying to be very stately and put together, and then the camera just like zooms in as she kind of pales and she like gasps dramatically and like looks around. And then she kind of comes up with, I think I might have had an encounter with the supernatural this evening. And I don't just mean the supernatural. Queen Victoria herself appeared to me personally and told me something which I shall never repeat. But I might put it on my Instagram if you want to follow me there. @Mavanwi Charcuterie. You know how to spell it.
Should we add believes in ghosts?
that seems legit.
Yeah.
Jones looks very serious. It's like, I'm a fun-loving guy, but the supernatural is no fun. It is the very real and sinister. We have spoken with demons and ghosts this evening, and I am mortified that this is something that's allowed on television. This isn't fun. This is risking our immortal souls.
Heavily religious?
I was going to go petrified of supernatural.
Oh, okay.
But
terrified of ghosts.
well, this has been mixed response to the entertainment. And then we go to the final course, which is dessert. Bernard, what you got for the dessert?
The dessert, it's quite a simple one. It's what Bernard could afford, but it's with a twist. It's muesli, with milk, but with a few little gummies that have been sort of homemade in molds, and they're like spooky gummies of little ghosts and bats and things, and they've been made in an ice tray with some aspic or agar or whatever it is that you use to make gummies with.
Fantastic. Now, Al, how did it turn out? Give me a roll.
It went. Oh, that's cocked. A 6.
It went very badly. 6. Now I have to choose how it went wrong because I'm the next player. And this 6 means it went terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. I reckon it's going to be something to do with the. I would say there's, you've had you've just got those bats in the house, so I reckon
yes.
There's bat poo in the muesli, or guano, as I believe is that the right word?
Yes.
You realise there appears to be chocolate chips for a second, and people was they aren't chocolate chips. What are you going to do, Al?
I think I have to junk the muesli. It's full of bat poo, and so instead of it's going to be gummies, a few gummies floating in glasses of milk each. And the muesli, it's unsalvageable. I'm crushed as I bring back. And I attempt to cover it, but like, the muesli was more conceptual in the end.
Oh. Well, now everyone roll a dice and add numbers if you think you're going to like it. Subtract it if you think you're going to dislike it, or based upon the words. So it's 1 per word. So, for example, if I had hates milk and hates gummy bears, I would subtract 2.
Well, I have to say that I am disappointed in Bernard's dessert. It did not live up to the standard that I've come to expect from his first 2 courses. Although I must say, I was surprisingly not as disappointed as perhaps I should have been by 2 gummy bears floating in a glass of milk. But yes, I would just say I was mildly disappointed that really this let down what has been otherwise an amazing evening.
You know, this is the first dish of any caliber that I've seen tonight. I mean, as anyone who engages with fashion or really the upper crust would understand, conceptual food is much more fashionable than, you know, this sort of broth that we've been served. So I really quite like the idea of conceptual muesli. Clearly, there's a hint of that stardom that Bernard once had still in there.
Fantastic. And I rolled a 2 again, so I also hate it. It's like, honestly, I like fun as much as the next guy, more so even. But this just looks like a threat. It's like we've got gummy bears being drowned, and I'm pretty sure this one's meant to be me. I say, holding up to the camera when Bernard went out of the room. It's like, this is a very strange kind of Halloween. My kind of Halloween's all about wearing costumes based around corporate characters. This is much more of a kind of occult, supernaturally Halloween, and that's the kind of Halloween I won't stand for. Fantastic. Well, and now, Bernard, how do you reckon it went?
It went very badly. No, I was. Bernard is. He's trying to keep composed. He's very sad about the muesli. He's very sad about the bats. He's quite sad about his dog. The conversation they ended up having with the dog over the Ouija board was quite pedestrian. Wasn't no great, nothing major was said, just woof. So yeah, Bernard's generally expecting to get 3 zeros and is inconsolable. And all of this is through a closed door. He won't let the cameras film it.
I'm sorry. Now we're waiting all in our taxis going home marking. Now, I didn't mention, I probably mentioned this earlier, is what's a good way to do is as we go through the events, as your characters like it or dislike it, do a tick or a cross on your piece of paper to remind yourself of what your marks are like. For example, if I think I hated everything, didn't I? No, I liked the first course and I hated everything else. So I've written a tick and 3 crosses. And now you basically mark out of 10 and you justify why you're marking out of 10 and give you a mark out of 10. It's worth noting that whilst obviously we as players know the scores, the characters don't know the scores. So we must, and it's also worth stressing the fact the game is a collaboration between the players, whilst a competition between the characters. So starting with Maria, what's your feelings about the evening?
Well, I have had the most amazing evening. I arrived in this hovel in Swansea expecting to be mugged. I thought the flat and in fact the host himself were very spooky people, but the food was amazing. The food was absolutely amazing. Slightly disappointed by the dessert, but everything else was so top notch that I have to give Bernard a fantastically creepy 9.
Excellent. Mavani?
So it didn't start well. And I think we all have to agree Bernard's TV chef days are behind him. However, a certain Harry's comment on my Instagram post about what Queen Victoria's ghost said to me has gone viral. And now everyone is following my Instagram page. I can't remember the last time I got this many new followers ever since that nudes incident. So I'm really quite pleased. And I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 just to be nice.
I'm in a taxi sort of leaning back. And like, to be honest, I felt like drowning myself by the end of the evening. But like, to be fair, he is a very depressed man, and I don't feel I can be too hard on him, despite the food being mostly terrible. I'm going to give him a 5, which adds up to the end of the evening Bernard Tomb's score of 20 points. Excellent, and that's literally 1/4 of the game. For those who are watching at home, and decide that's enough to learn the rules, you can stop watching now. We're going to do the rest of the game as well to repeat it. Now the hosting moves on to Maria's night, and we repeat that sequence. Maria, can you please reveal the menu?
Yes. The starter, and I'm just reading it. I'm not describing it yet, right?
Yes, just read as if we're reading the menu.
Yes, the starter is antipasti di montagna. The main course is salsiccia con fonduta. The dessert is panna cotta. And the dress code is rustic alpine.
That's great. Now we go around in order as before, and we basically describe our initial feelings about the food. Starting with Mabani.
Right. Well, I obviously, myself and my family do go skiing in a chalet every year in the Alps. So I'm quite looking forward to the rustic alpine look. I've got just the number. I admit I did spend some time away from my Swiss boarding school, so I didn't actually finish my Italian. And so I don't really know what's going on with the main course, but I'm sure it's going to be delightful.
It's like, oh, this is exciting. I mean, I love Italian food. In this, like Pagliacci, the great clown, was Italian. So, of course, I've heard a lot about his material. I wanted to see him. In fact, to be honest, I thought about recommending Bernard going to see him. But I'm all in. This sounds like a great evening.
Bernard's fixated on the Alpine rustic dress code. I don't know what that is. I don't own anything that's Alpine or rustic. Maybe I shouldn't go.
Someone save Bernard. Great. Now we introduce ourselves and set the scene. Introduction, remember, is whatever words on your sheet, or details, I believe they're called now, followed by your name, and then describe what you're wearing, Maria, and your house a little.
Okay, well, welcome to the home of theatrical journalist Maria, who is hoping to inspire her fellow guests with an Italian-themed evening. She herself is following the rustic alpine theme by wearing a traditional costume, peasant's costume with hand-stitched lace, stitched by her grandmother, in fact, a collar, a big wide collar, and it's a special hat as well that has lace that comes down here, and a big wide apron, ready to get dirty in the kitchen. The house around her, let's see, where does she live? She lives Swansea. She lives in a penthouse overlooking the marina, so you can see the views of Swansea Bay, and around her are various there's an awful lot of I was just going for like, what do journalists have in their house? There's an awful lot of print media stacked up around her.
Unsold magazines.
Wow, I do not understand how jobs work. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go for. Nice views, loads of old newspapers around. There's some nice Italian things on the wall, like old wooden spoons, sort of nice rustic looking things that she's decorated with. And she looks like Heidi as a grown-up, basically.
That sounds great. Now, everyone introduce yourself and describe your arrival.
So, here comes the glamorous butcher from Swansea who believes in ghosts, Mavanui Charcuterie. And she is wearing a sort of cream mohair sweater, Dior like fitted ski trousers over like high heels, which are Louis Vuitton. And she has an antique, but like beaver fur, I guess, like hat or something, like one of those fur hats. And like her hair has been blow dried, but like styled underneath the hat, so the hat stays on when she goes inside. And she kind of like comes in and like pets like in the air either side of Maria's face, and just, oh, you're just charmingly rustic. It's adorable.
That's fantastic. Anyway, here comes fun-loving, joker-obsessed, occult terrified, cheese-hating. I can't read that one. Writer Joseph Jones. Joseph Jones is dressed head from foot as Pagliacci the clown. So second clown costume for the week, and we got the same kind of walk. Him coming in. He has bought another fine bottle of red wine. It is yet again just Ribena. He's kind of hoping that the joke gets funnier with repetition. And his element of rusticness is he's brought a snowball, which he's kept in the fridge since winter. Because like someone throwing a snowball, in the middle of summer is always very funny. And he just greets you enormously and gives you the wine and the snowball, and then.
Can we add eccentric to your sheet?
Yes, uncertain characterization.
The snowball since summer is.
You never did that. I did that as a kid, I think, once. Did I? I think we always talked about doing it.
I did it once. It became like a ball of solid ice.
Yeah, I think that's what happens.
Yeah. It's extremely
The more you know.
This is an educational, it's an educational video in multiple ways. We're all learning a lot here. Sorry, and Bernard's arrival.
Yes, here comes the spooky, extremely sad, ghost believing in cook who killed his dog and also several bats. And he's extremely poor, Bernard Toombs. And he's arrived wearing he's got nothing alpine and nothing rustic, so he's arrived wearing an outfit he did some painting in once. So it's an extremely tatty jumper with a couple of paint stains in a pea green and some brown cords, again with a couple of paint stains here and there. And he shuffles. He hasn't brought wine. He can't afford it. He shuffles up to the door, knocks, and then sort of shuffles in, unable to meet Maria's eye. Hello.
Anyway, we'll settle in, and now Mavani has to explore the house. And what does Mavani find whilst exploring?
Well. So, for a while, Mavani sort of leafs disinterestedly with her perfect manicure through the piles of magazines that are strewn around the flat. It just sort of looks slightly bored. But then eventually she comes to a set of cupboards and her eyes light up as she opens them to reveal an extremely expensive collection of leather Italian handbags.
Well, that's interesting. We'll find out where they came from. Anyway, now Maria, what's the first course?
The first course is Antipasti di Montagna, which is an assortment of cured meats and cured cheeses. And also she's made some little arancini risotto ball things as well. That's what she's planning to make. And I rolled a 2, so that means it's basically functional.
No, that means nothing's gone wrong. It's a very good meal. Well done, Maria. So in this case, nobody gets it wrong, and now we all have to basically respond to it. So we roll our dice, and I'm trying to remember what's in it. Was there any cheese?
Cheeses.
Yeah, there's cheeses. Yeah, that's good. Right, so I'm gonna roll. So my math will be I'll roll dice to subtract 1 because my character hates cheese. So Mavani.
I mean, this is. I got a 4, and this is an absolute treat. Really, I think Maria is just. She's the sort of woman, when you sort of talk about just talking to normal people, like normal people. I really think that Maria she gets it. This is delightful.
Like my character just like. In terms of I want to I put a ball on my nose, and it's that kind of I want to take this arancione ball. Is that what's called? So that ball of meat, and I want to stick it on my nose because it was like I've never tasted cheese like this. Italian cheese is good cheese. All other cheeses, I just feel like my eyes have been opened. I know I said I liked Italian food before, but what I meant was pasta, and I've never tried any Italian food apart from pasta with no sauce. So this is a whole new world for me. So Italian cheese is definitely my thing now. Bravo, Maria. That's probably an Italian word. Am I right? Okay.
So should we change it to likes Italian cheese?
Yes. I'm going to add likes, hates cheese except for Italian cheese.
Okay.
You do get the feeling that Joseph may not know enough about cheese to have any opinion worth having on it.
Well, Bernard enjoys the meal. He cleans his plates and asks if there's any more, and he seems to be perking up. He seems almost cheerful after that. What's going on with Bernard?
Oh,
That's delightful.
It's very good. Is there more?
I would like more too.
Absolutely. Seconds for everyone. I couldn't be more pleased with how the starter's gone. Even Bernard had a smile on his face, and Joseph, bless him, thought that the arancini risotto balls were cheese, that risotto was rice. But I didn't want to correct him because he seems to have had some kind of epiphany about cheese. So I thought, just live and let live.
This cheese tastes just like rice.
Yes, couldn't be more pleased. We're off to a great start to the evening.
Marvelous.
What next? Do I?
No, I was like Mavani is. I believe Mavani found something interesting around the house.
Maria, I have to borrow you. Mufanu kind of grabs your elbow and sort of tugs slightly harder than you expect. I need to know, where did you get these? And she kind of swings open the doors dramatically.
These are the handbags that belonged to my mother, who was a great, because Turin in the 60s was amazing, fashionable fashion place. She still lives out there, but when I moved to this country, she wanted to give me something of Italy to take with me. So she gave me her collection of vintage, though not vintage to her, leather handbags. That almost makes sense, right?
Yeah. As I said, that's a good one. It's I would have just gone I've just stolen a load of handbags. But actually, do you want glamorous mother or something like that? That's a good idea, or
yeah, or like has like, or is it because you've run away to become a journalist instead of inheriting the like fashion empire or so, like?
Yeah, it's maybe she. Oh God, I can't think. Yes, basically, I've not done what the family wanted me to do, but the family has insisted on giving me this part of Italy.
Black sheep, daughter of a glamorous mother.
Yeah, maybe we can offset like the glamorous mother with this rustic thing that Maria's doing. So actually, Maria is willfully. You know when I said she was dressed not sexy Halloween but functional Halloween. Let's lean into the like functional, not glamorous.
is the word you're looking for slumming it?
No.
The fact you've just got a very rich
functional?
background.
Yeah, defiantly pragmatic.
Yes,
Yeah.
there we are.
Pragmatic, you're theatrical yet pragmatic. Then
Yep, I can definitely play this. Don't worry.
I was about to say, this is Dogma or something, isn't it? It's like that kind of like, yes, we do not use any special effects in our theatre. It's all very. This is great. That sounds very interesting, Maria. Now we serve the main course.
Okay, the main course is salsiccia con fonduta, which is mountain sausages, big kind of curly sausages, a bit like is it Cumberland rings or whatever those things. That is that style of sausage cooked on she's got a stone slate out on the balcony of her thing. She cooks the sausages on there, and the fonduta is basically potatoes with this very specific nutty fontina cheese sort of sauce over the potatoes. And she brings it back in and serves it fresh from the slate, sizzling, smelling of Italy.
Marvelous. You are just making me hungry now, but just roll the and how does it go?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I got a 3.
Something goes a little wrong. In which case, I've got to decide what goes. Since I'm the next player, because Mavani did the room, I've decided what goes wrong.
I thought you decided what went wrong for Al's thing.
No, it resets.
Oh, did reset? I'm sorry.
It resets with every host. So Mavani said what she found when she was looking, and then I'm the next player.
Cool.
Something went slightly wrong with the cheese. You had to use not Italian cheese. You realise you had no Italian cheese left, and you've only got a load of cheddar in the house.
Well, at least you said cheddar and not like Kraft cheese slices or something. My God.
Well, that would be you only got 3 or 4. If it was 6, it could have been like.
Okay. Well, fine. So she still does that, but she maybe she in order to go. She said, because that still functions as a cheese sauce over the potatoes, but instead to try and make it even more Italian, as she comes in, she starts singing a little Italian mountain song and clicking her heels together and whoppa, and then that's Greek. Hey, yeah, I don't know. And then
That's great. What number did you roll, Chrissy, again? Was it a 4 or 3?
3.
3, cool. Right, Mavani, what do you make of it?
So I rolled a 6. I love this. It's really bringing me back to being 15 at my boarding school in the Swiss Alps and just soaking in the mountain air. And just honestly, Maria is so charming. She's so sweet. That little dance that she did, it was just adorable. Honestly, I just want to eat her up. She's wonderful.
So, you say, I like fun as much as the next man, but like the idea of it sort of like dancing, I just never understand. Like, why would anyone want to move rhythmically to music? It doesn't make any sense. It's just like, it's a weird social thing. It's not like a true art form like stand-up comedy or graphic novels involving the Joker. You know, it's just nonsense. So like that immediately put in a thing, but I tasted the cheese expecting delightful Italian cheese, and it wasn't Italian cheese, it was another cheese. And that was very upsetting for me. So I'm going to go like clean up my tongue a little because I was frankly, it was vile.
Well, Bernard's very happy again. I knew from the first course that it would be tasty, but when it was served on a stone, like the comforting grave, I thought that was meant particularly for me. I've never felt so at home. What a lovely stone.
Well, this main course, I think Joseph may have finally cottoned on something about the cheese. I don't know if his epiphany has lasted, but you know what? Most of the slates were clean. Everyone had a clean slate at the end of the course. Sorry, that's my journalistic punning wordplay. Here, have some printed matter. Yes, let's move on to the entertainment.
Hey.
The entertainment, seeing as it's completely random as anyone likes it or not, is actually a 3-hour one-woman opera that Maria has written and will perform for you very dramatically, but also in a minimalistic and pragmatic style, whatever that means. And it's set in the mountains. She plays all the parts, and it involves a hike up a mountain and then the walk back down again.
Right. Let's see what we make of it. Mavani responds first.
It's 4 or higher to like it, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, can we add amateur dramatist to Maria's sheet, considering she did a 3-hour opera in her time?
Yeah. I mean, she is theatrical. She is theatrical already, so it might be under that. But like, there's nothing stopping us adding more words that repeat it. It's definitely, how do you say, an extreme form of like drama. So I'm definitely.
Because I didn't think of her. I thought of her as someone who behaved theatrically, but wasn't necessarily someone who did theatre. But now she does theatre. And I don't know if that's worth observing. Maybe it's not like.
No, it's like it's Chrissy's call. Feel free to add. Definitely.
Quick point of playtesting order. Is it an idea to like if the entertainment hits any of your description buttons, to plus or minus it like the food?
I was about to say, I genuinely leave the fact that this is all plus or minus. I leave that one to the players. As in, like, yeah, feel free. As in, I'm about to say, if you want to add or subtract your stuff from that's been established, you definitely can. That's what hand raise. That's not something I've written in the rules. That's something, for example, I've just done.
A house rule.
So. Especially when Maria's done something as extreme as a 3-hour opera, I think bringing your words in is completely justified. So, I'm next. Shit.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Sorry, no, I'm right. Hasn't said whether
I'm sorry. I thought we had. Sorry, my brain.
I'm sorry. I just distracted onto words. Sorry. I'm glad that we have that house rule because I rolled a 2, but I don't want to dislike this because I don't think the family would because she's glamorous and wealthy and self-obsessed. So I'm adding +1 for glamour, and I'm also going to add +1 for loves the mountains and alpine culture because I feel like that's come out this evening. So she thinks it's adequate, and she kind of has a very polite smile. She doesn't love it, but she kind of like gently claps, sort of like the queen is like, "Very good, dear. Very good."
I'm amazed. Like I am astounded. I am moved. I I said earlier, like this seems weird. It's like she was like foreshadowing it or something. Like she walked in dancing and singing, but now she does something just about walking. Now you know what I mean? An entire opera about walking. No need for dancing. Even if she's singing about walking. I was blown away. Literally, I'm in the presence of a true artist, and I think I had a lot of fun. I'm all in. This is a lot of fun. I rolled a 6, by the way.
Right. Well. Oh. Yeah. Bernard was like is weeping with tears of appreciation. Oh, it's wonderful. It's the journey up to the highest point, and then the descent. It's so like life, so like how life is. So very, let's applaud at the end of the third hour, just applauding. Magnificent.
Now everyone's very hungry for the actual dessert.
Yes.
Yes, the dessert is panna cotta with kiwi. I'm going to throw in kiwi decoration on the top just for fun. I don't know if anyone has fruity things there. And it'll be served in a hand-carved wooden bowl from her grandfather's own workshop. Oh, and I rolled a 4.
That means something's gone slightly wrong with it, and Al gets to decide.
Right. Well, the panna cotta, the obvious thing is that the panna cotta has not. It's not set. It's not set at all. It's become a sort of runny custard.
That's a shame.
In it.
She decides to. How do you say broken panna cotta? She decides to just serve it as it is, but singing and dancing louder than she did last time.
Marvelous. Right. We all roll and answer in order. It was 4, yes?
4, yes.
Go. Navani?
So I got a 4, but I think Mavani has had such a nice evening overall, and she's decided that she quite likes Maria, so she's not as openly sort of disgusted as she was with Bernard. And this time, it's just like a very polite, like quite small smile, and just kind of like.
Especially like 4. If you rolled a 4, that means you like it. By the way, if you roll the same, it means you like it.
I always kind of. I think we talked about this before, but like the way I've been interpreting them is if I have them as the same, it's like I like it a little bit. If I have it much more, I love it. And if it's like a really high one and I have the same as it, then I do quite like it because it seems so ridiculous to like one that's gone that wrong. If that's okay, is that okay?
No. I was about to say I'm discussing discussions more than I would normally do in a game because it's I said no, that's 100%. Like I just wanted to highlight that you could like it more than you did, as in you choose to like it a little bit is like completely a cool choice. But if someone wanted to go, no, that was great, that is still a cool choice as well. That's what
it has to fit into my emoji system. So you said before about ticks and crosses that I have like levels of smile. This is the small polite smile instead of the sincere smile or the big smile.
Yes, she is like very. Oh, me next. It's like again with the dancing. This is just like one of the movies when you think the joke, you're watching a movie, you're hoping the Joker's going to win, and he's doing so well. He's got Batman on the back foot, and then at the last minute, Batman stops him. At the last minute, this was like the same. Like for 3 hours, we had walking, hymns to walking, and then they're singing again. I am very upset. I won't be coming here again.
So, you hate singing?
Yeah, and hates dancing, right? Like,
Yeah.
Hate singing and dancing.
I couldn't
would have been
tell-
one of the bad guys in Footloose. Sorry.
What did he think of the latest Joker movie?
He has complicated feelings about all, but that's different when the Joker does it, though. He's probably got kind of. Actually, that's about to camera. You got to like when the Joker does it, it's a bit more than just dancing. It's about like everything in life, man. Anyway, Bernard, sorry, did you respond, or like we good?
Bernard, yes. As a cook, Bernard does recognise that the panna cotta has broken, but it's very tasty, and he's sort of he's happy. Oh, it's a small flaw. It's nothing to spoil my mood.
Oh,
So,
excellent.
yes.
That's lovely. How do you think that went, Maria? Then the evening.
Well, I'm very disappointed in my panna cotta, but I think the singing and dancing managed to style it out at least a little bit. I certainly feel that my guests have come and had a good evening. Mafanwe, I think we've bonded a little bit. It's just, there's something about her that reminds me a little bit of home. It's just there's something there. But, we've bonded. Joseph, I mean, I think he's had a good night, though I feel like he's been on a roller coaster of emotions. And as for Bernard, it's just nice to see the dear boy smile. So yeah, I'm happy.
Excellent. Now in the taxi, giving marks, Mavani.
I have to say that Maria really pulled it out of the bag for this one. It was just the most charming provincial evening. We were told to come dressed in a sort of alpine rustic dress, and I thought, well, I'm quite excited, but I don't know if the food and the entertainment will live up to that. And it lived up to it and exceeded it. I have to say, I'm giving this an 8.
I've got to be honest. I always say I don't like making a song or dance about things, and I won't. 6.
I was very glad to come on this program now. I feel as if it's giving me a new lease of life. A new day has dawned. I can live again. However, I did have to take a mark off for the panna cotta, so I gave her a 9.
Hooray! And that gives the full mark for Maria Torino of 23 points, putting her in the lead. Now we go to the third night, which is Mavani's.
Yes. Okay.
What's the menu? What are we going to have to eat this in?
So the starter is Jardin du Porc. The main course is ambitiously titled A Noble Feast. And the dessert is Gilded Lilies. The dress code is white tie.
Ooh, it's like, white tie. That's an interesting choice. This sounds like I don't think we need to learn about Mavani. It's like, is she the sort of person to bring some singing or dancing in, or is she more about walking and comedy routines and graphic novels involving the king of comic crime? These are the kind of the questions I look at this menu. But I'm certainly hungry.
Bernard, we can't.
Al, I can't hear you for some reason.
How about now? Any better?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Great. Okay. Well, yeah, Bernard has a new. I was just saying, Bernard has a new zest for life after the previous evening. So he's I'm looking forward to eating all of that, but I don't own a white tie. So I'm going to use one of my black ones and some Tipex. So there we go. That's Bernard.
And Maria, response?
Maria is feeling very positive generally about my family. So I think she's looking at is it Jardin du Porc? It's not Italian, but it's French. It's almost it's on the way to being Italian. It's on the way to Italy. So I think Maria is hoping that we'll be in for an exciting evening, full of delicious food.
Excellent. Now, with that, Fanway, I'll just introduce yourself and then describe your house and what you're wearing.
So it is time for the super wealthy, mountain-loving, glamorous, self-made woman butcher who believes in ghosts, Mvanwi Charcuterie, to host this evening's event. And Mvanwi's has a penthouse looking over the water like Maria, except that her penthouse is bigger and higher up. It sort of has a lot of sort of tasteful, abstract, extremely expensive art on the walls, white, like thick rugs over kind of like cold, like white kind of tiles. Like it's all a very kind of cold, like grays and whites and blacks. Everything's polished, everything's sparkling. Everything is sort of laid out as if it's taken out of a magazine cover. And she strolls out into the camera in a floor-length midnight blue evening gown with long white silk opera gloves. She's done up her hair. She's wearing a diamond necklace, of course, and diamond earrings. She's looking extremely glamorous and very impractically dressed to cook a three-course meal.
That's fantastic. Anyway, here comes fun-loving, Joker-obsessed, Batman-hating, cheese-hating, Brachioceptitalian, occult-terrified, dancing-hating, singing-loathing writer, Joseph Jones. And Joseph to camera says, tonight it's like, I've sort of made sure that I might be more, because I've been talking about the Joker a lot and other clowns. I thought I should basically make sure that to express that I've got other sides to my personality. And the whole guts to, he's coming in dressed as the comedian from Watchmen. But wearing a white tie over it. And this expresses the complexities of my characterization. He's bringing a bottle of wine. Actually, he's bringing a bottle of Ribena, but replaced with red wine in it this time. And that's the rule of three. That's a technical writer thing as he arrives. Bernard?
Well, here comes the spooky, poor, very sad, but with a new lust for life. Ghost believing in cook who killed his dog and several bats. Bernard Toombs.
Hey.
And yeah, he's wearing that Dracula costume from the first night, except he's painted the tie, the bow tie with Tipex so that it looks white mostly. And this time he actually knocks on the door and steps in rather than shuffling in. So he's full of energy for Bernard.
Maria comes. Here comes amateur operatic enthusiast Maria, who is wearing a white version of the same black, not sexy, but mostly functional dress that she wore to Bernard's night on the first night. But she's also wearing a literal white tie, which is sparkling and somehow bejeweled, but it's actually very practical because you can unfold it and use it as a scarf as well. So she comes in and she kisses Mfanwi on both cheeks, gives her a bottle of champagne and a stack of old New York Times.
Delightful.
Brilliant. Excellent. In which case, whilst you're cooking, we get a chance to explore the house. Oh, I have to explore the house. So it's definitely the part of the game goes, oh yeah, I'm the player. I'm the next player. Okay, and I'm the Joseph Jones nosing around this penthouse suite. Oh, what can he find? Like, Okay, sorry, that's far too long a pause. I apologise. Okay, he just finds like it's a photo of Mavanwe when she was a younger person, like a teenager. And there are significant differences. Is the only way I would say. I saw you hold up to the camera, and it's kind of like there's a significant image change from Mavanwe between now and then. Oh, that's interesting. I'd like to hear more about that. Move to the starter.
So, what Mavanwi is actually making sort of prosciutto and melon parcels. So, they're just like a really simple, easy thing that she could do. So all she has to do is chop up some melons, wrap them in little pieces of prosciutto, which theoretically should be easy. But let's see. Oh, she got a 1.
A first-class meal, therefore it's gone perfectly. Let's see. So it's little prosciutto partials. Like I can roll for that. Like, of course, this is a delicious, glamorous meal. It's like setup punchline. It's just like it's just great stuff. I'm enjoying this enormously. I could eat this twice. In fact, I'm tempted to. If no one else likes it, I'm going to steal their food. Much like the Joker steals the all the stuff from around Gotham before the Batman gets involved again.
Well, Bernard digs into it as if expecting a great feast, and sort of, but then begins to slow down and looks slightly disappointed. And it's quite nice. It's fine. It's perfectly good. Yes, it's very adequate. I like it, I suppose. Oh, let's see, it's starting to waver.
Maria,
I have a question, which is, what color is the melon?
Orangey.
Oh.
Okay.
So Bernie goes, I've gone off it.
He's
Okay.
he's noticeably pushed all of the melon aside.
Maria has enjoyed the fact that it's Parma ham, because there's an Italian connection there, and that's wonderful. She's not too sure about the melon, because obviously all right-thinking people know that you can't eat orange melon after Easter. So, she's a bit confused about why the melon is orange and not green. So she's slightly less enthused than she would otherwise be. But overall, she's still, fairly content with the melon.
It's what the camera zooms in on Mavanwi just snapping a ballpoint pen in tension whilst keeping a perfect poker face, and she's watching people's faintly unimpressed reactions.
And now we have to justify the mysterious item. In terms of, so we end up getting this sort of just pull it. Mavani, you've got some changes over the years here.
Where did you find that? She's kind of putting her hand in front of the picture, in front of the camera. I don't, excuse me, I don't want anyone to, thank you very much.
I found it in the vault at the back, and I had to basically unlock the vault and get into the other vault to do so. It was very hard to get in there, I must admit.
It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. And you did get that on camera. Yes, okay, my lawyers will be needing that. So, I suppose, since it's out of the open, and I'm sure we'll be editing all of this, yes? Okay, great. I suppose I might admit there's a possibility that before I became Mavanwi Charcuterie, I was Mavanwi Davies, and my mother was perhaps not my greatest fan, and I may or may not have ended up in care, and then I may or may not have been adopted by the Charcuterie family and sent to a Swiss boarding school in which to learn the manners of the proper people. And I try not to think about that time. I've really reinvented myself since then. I think of myself as Mavanwi Charcuterie before Mavanwi Davies. Mavanwi Davies does not exist. This girl, she has no power over me.
Excellent. Right, now on to the main course after the reveal of secret origins. What are you doing, Mavani?
So my noble feast is a whole suckling pig, honey roasted with a truffle and white wine sauce and roasted asparagus and roast potatoes. And I don't know how she's going to manage it, but she's going to try. Ooh, she got a 6.
Well, Al, something's gone seriously wrong with what up to that point sounded an amazing meal.
Well, what has gone seriously wrong was that the pig was delivered alive, and despite being a butcher, Henry couldn't bring herself to kill it.
How are you going to cover up the fact the pig is still alive?
So I think that because I called it a noble feast, I'm going to pretend that the pig wasn't supposed to be part of the meal. And so I'm just going to try and make truffle and white wine sauce with asparagus and roast potatoes look like it's meant to be a noble feast by itself. And so I just sort of, try to like drizzle it together and pile it up in a way that like kind of has like the sauce like dripping down, but it is quite distracted by the young pig, which is now running around behind me, and I am trying to sort of calm down.
This capering pig as a kind of centipede. Seems legit. Let's see what we think of it all. Like, this was honestly, I rolled a 6. That was so good, honestly. Like, to be honest, I don't like eating cute things, and nothing's about that. Look at it. I'm holding up the little pig to the camera. Look at this little fella. Who would eat this? You just want to caper with it. And I sort of rolling with the pig on the ground excitedly and eating this. Honestly, it's not just food is like an experience and a journey you go on. And this, I'm all in for this. This was a triumph, and this little pig is my new friend.
Bernard picks desultorily at the mains. He can't seem to take his eyes off the pig. And then to camera later, well, the meal was fine, a little slight, but there was a pig at the table, and it reminded me of a pig that I accidentally killed in 1994. So I'm feeling rather depressed now.
Are you going to add pig murdering to your sheet?
Yes. I'll add it to the list of animals.
It's like the opposite of Noah's Ark, really, aren't you?
Terrible luck with animals.
And Maria?
Well, I was surprised that there was no meat on this plate because none of us are vegetarians, and I thought that's an interesting decision. But when I realised that she'd sculpted the potatoes and asparagus into a mighty peak, like the noble Alps, I realised that it was my ideal main course. It's the best main course of the week so far, without a doubt. And it's making me question everything I ever thought about needing to have meat on the plate. Superb. Absolutely superb. I got a 6 as well.
Oh my God, the dice lovers. Mavanri, how do you thought that course went?
She's got the pig in her arms now, is holding it like a baby. I think I salvaged it. And honestly, I think Jeremy is going to be a wonderful addition to the family. I never realized how adorable pigs are, but actually they're incredibly sweet.
Should we add loves pigs?
Yes.
Pig owning. It's like
Pig owning, pig loving.
Glamorous, pig loving butcher.
This game is just about good sentences. Right, Mavanwi, and the entertainment now.
Right, so the entertainment, Mavanwi pulls out from sort of an alcove an extremely dusty harp and sits down to begin to play it to a level of skill that the dice will decide, whilst singing a song identifying the various different kinds of cutlery that she learned at her boarding school.
Sounds fantastic. Now, do we like it? Just long, lingering shot of him in the room, like the camera's just lingering on him, staring. Then we hard cut to him in the bedroom, him just staring, and then more singing, and then hard cut away.
Yeah, Bernard is sort of nodding along, and it's very, very pleasant, I suppose. But yes, it will do. It will do. He's kind of looking like increasingly like existentially torn, but likes it.
I can imagine Bernard just being quite sad about all this cutlery I will never own.
Yes. Yes, there was a lot of singing about knives, like the knife that killed my hamster that I had.
Oh, Maria.
Maria's white dress is wet through with the tears of emotion that have welled in her eyes like a waterfall of joy, pure joy. Who knew that cutlery could yield so much delight?
Cutlery loving.
Yeah. Yes.
The classic song, Time After Time. I'm so sorry. Anyway, after that triumph of always experience the harp playing, the supper, the dessert, Mavanawi.
So these are candied hibiscus flowers with a syrup that has been mixed in with golden flakes, like real flakes of gold, to be gilded lilies. See how it goes. And that's another 6.
In which case, something's gone drastically wrong. Maria?
Oh, very wrong. You only realised too late that they're not hibiscus flowers. They're some kind of poison. Aren't daffodils poisonous? Basically, they're a poisonous flower.
Lilies are poisonous.
Yes, just as you're about to serve them, you realise actually this is a poisonous flower that's been candied inside the thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so to save that, I get rid of the flowers because I can't poison everyone. And so I serve you all small, like, side dishes of just a puddle of syrup with gold flakes in it and teaspoons.
Well, let's see what we make of that then. Like, just staring at the camera and looks at the plate, looks up, then looks down at the plate. Hard cut to the room, talking afterwards. She sang again. I just couldn't get over the singing. Like, what is the point of these people? Always with the larring. Was there a dessert? I'm sorry. I was sort of entered a sort of fugue state. I'm sorry. It was terrible. It was terrible. This is all awful.
Bernard is looking almost angered. It's not enough that you show off your wonderful house, a house I could never own, but you serve me your literal wealth. You expect me to choke down your wealth. He's sort of wailing. Hope is a lie. Hope is a terrible lie.
Marvelous. And Maria?
Kieran, I need to mark this dice, okay? Because I'm rolling so well this game. I need to take this with me for all future games. What can Maria say other than the golden puddle feels like it's reflecting the light of God in its beauty? There's a ray coming out of it, a sort of aura of sanctimony and holiness, and it is the most delicious puddle that Maria has ever tasted in her life. She's having a religious experience. That's how good this puddle is.
Marvelous. Mavari, how do you think that course went? And the evening of it?
So I have to be honest. Ever since Helena quit, I've been teaching myself how to cook. And it turns out that teaching yourself how to cook exclusively through French cookbooks when you don't actually speak French may or may not be the most effective way to learn. But, you know, I can't help it if they don't understand true class when they see it. And she sort of gives a tight smile to the camera and turns around and walks away.
It's like in the taxi sitting there. It's been a difficult choice. I was surprised by her choice not to serve a dessert. That was a weird one for me. But like, in fact, I can't remember anything after the singing. But the first half of the evening was really good. And I like my family, and I really like being a penthouse. I felt a bit like being like the Kingpin, who's another villain I quite like. Though, so I'm gonna give it a 6.
Bernard's just staring off into the middle distance in the text and goes, I've learned that the living will only disappoint you. Only the ghosts and the dead can be counted on. It was adequate where it wasn't inadequate, and then they made me eat gold. I give it a 3.
I saw the face of God in that dessert puddle. I wept like a babe experiencing innocence again for the first time at that song about the spoons. The only reason I can't give it a 10, the only reason is because of the devil's orange melon in the first chorus. But it's a 9 from me.
Which a divisive meal, which leads to a total score of 18 points, putting Mvanwe in last place.
It's more than it deserved.
Excellent. Now we move into the final night, and I have to we go to Joseph Jones's house, and I'm going to read my menu, and everyone gets a chance to respond. So the starter is the warm up, and up is in brackets, and the word up is in with the word SO in front of it. So it's meant to be the warm up, but it's the warm soup. The second is life is a Cabernet. And the finally is the punchline. And the dress code is fun.
Bernard just stares at the menu and it's like, well, I don't know what fun is anymore. This all looks like it's food, I suppose. And he just walks into a dark room and closes the door. Closes the door on the camera.
Okay.
I like the wordplay, little journalistic thing, character note there that I'd forgotten about. This wordplay is good, and he's. It's been hard to know what to make of Joseph all week, to be honest, because he's just spent so much time obsessing about either cheese or singing. So I'm going to be really interested to see what the actual food behind these puns will be like.
I have been excited to see what Joseph will serve ever since he broke into my highly secure vault against my express wishes. He certainly did attempt some wordplay here, didn't he? Let's see if the food is more successful than his attempts with the written word.
Excellent. We go to anyway. Here's fun-loving, Joker-obsessed, Batman-hating, cheese-hating, anything with a few animal hating, dancing especially hating, song a boring, occult, terrified writer Joseph Jones. And Joseph Jones' house, it's a really, really small flat. And to realize it isn't actually a really small flat. It's kind of like the front room is really small, and the rest of the house, as you kind of go into it, is a lot of costumes. Like it's got a load of like clown costumes stretching backwards in a kind of walk-in closet, as the majority of his house is a warming closet. In fact, his kitchen is part of the walk-in closet. He is dressed like and he is dressed perfectly like a late night television host, like sort of 1970s night television host, immaculately well done. like looks incredibly like well groomed, considering it's very uncharacteristic for him. And he sort of stands waiting for people, staring at the door.
Well, here comes the spooky, extremely sad, believing in ghosts cook whose hope has been crushed, who killed his dog, several bats, a pig, and a hamster, and believes in ghosts. It's Bernard Toombs, and he still didn't find anything fun, and at this point, he can't even bear to wear normal clothes, so he's wearing a potato sack with holes cut for his arms and legs, and shuffles up to the door, and instead of knocking, he sort of leans against it, making a heavy thud.
Oh, Bernard, I thought that was you. Come on in. Maria?
Here's amateur operatics loving, orange loathing, sees God in the face of pudding believing. That doesn't make sense. Italian theatrical journalist Maria Torino. She has come presenting, she's brought another bottle of champagne and a stack of Viz magazines for Joseph. And she's wearing her most fun outfit, which is an identical dress as she's worn on the other nights, but this is the colour of prune.
The funnest of the food.
Yes.
Mafanway?
Here comes super wealthy, mountain loving, glamorous, pig loving, secretly orphaned butcher who believes in ghosts, Mavanwi Charcuterie. And she is dressed in an exquisitely tailored three-piece suit with a bow tie. She thinks of herself like she's kind of like slicked back her hair. She thinks she looks very cool. And she brings with her a bottle of extremely expensive champagne, which she offers to Joseph. And it's actually elderflower cordial.
Mafanway, thank you. You're absolutely leading into the evening. This is going to be a lovely time. Everyone's standing in a very small room. Because there's barely, with the table, there's not really enough room for all of us here. So it's going to be quite intense. And I disappear, and like everyone, Bernard now has to explore the house and find something unusual. What do you find, Bernard?
I have found something unusual. At the back of the walk-in cupboard, I found a chemistry set and a small cage containing 2 dead laboratory rats with rictus grins. So that's interesting.
Wonder what the explanation of that could be. Fantastic. And Maria? Oh no, that's not the stage of the game. It's the. So of course, I've got to describe what the starter is. The starter is, I sort of explain in the kitchen. It's like the warm up. I've got a comedy theme and a kind of like a sort of Joker theme for this evening. So my plan is this. So basically, it's a parsnip soup, and I've got this. But I've made other soups, and I'm going to basically put layers of other soups on this soup to create like a Joker type face. And then I'll walk it through, and like people have to eat the Joker, and the flavors should complement each other. Fingers crossed. The flavors include tomato, I guess, and maybe a chorizo soup in there. And just think what colour the Joker's face. And what's the green? Oh, a pea soup. And I've ordered 4. Something has gone wrong with that meal. What has gone wrong with the meal, Maria? Minorly, not majorly.
You're serving it the Hobbs bust, so you're serving it cold instead of hot.
Is that Is that small?
Is that major? Oh, okay,
that feels
fine.
major.
You didn't have any peas, so you've had to put something else green in it instead.
Fantastic. What green figure they use? Well, I'm using the tomato. I'm using the parsnip, but using colour dye, as in like green colour dye to create like green parsnip soup for the effect. They'll never know. Parsnip and peas basically taste the same, I think. Right. 4 is the meal quality. What do you make of it?
Bernard stares at the soup in disgust, and then basically, disgust continuing. He hurls it away, podily. Why do you mock me with this grinning smile? Why? Why do you mock me? And also, parts of it were orange. Like, I simply can't. I can't have that. I can't be looking at a soup that mocks my pain. And then he begins to cry.
Oh.
Did you say 3 or 4? Sorry.
4.
Oh.
Maria looks into the face of the soup and does not see God in it. She sips it reluctantly, also noting the bits of orange as Bernard has. But fundamentally, it just feels like an experience bereft of any kind of spiritual connection. Ugh.
Nathaniel?
Yeah, Mavanwi is just sort of poking at her soup and delicately sipping a little because it's polite, and then putting the spoon down. And as the camera kind of like zooms from her, like picking at her food, it kind of zooms out to the room, which is very quiet, and we can just hear the low hum of like a generator just in the next room. And it's just like, yeah. And there's just like silence at the table.
I'll go to Joseph Jones. I think it went really well. Honestly, I think that was a first-class start. I think I'm on for a win here. This is really exciting. Fingers crossed. Next up, I believe someone found an item they want to ask some questions about.
Yes, get out the rats. Joseph, I found this cage of dead rats and a chemistry set. Have you two suffered a horrible accident?
No, but it's a bit strange. Like, honestly, this is a bit weird because I found one of these rats with a weird Richter's sort of expression. I was trying to work out what's wrong with it. And there's this enormous vat. And he opens the window, the one window. Like, there's a big vat down there. And I saw one of my pet rats fell in there, and that he came out with this Richter's expression. I thought that was strange. And then, like, he rubbed the other one, and I was trying to basically but yeah, I suppose I would say I was running experiments on it, I guess, but it feels a bit cold. But yeah, it just feared that this weird vat beneath the window that I could fall into. There's this weird. They're very pale as well. They turn up albino. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure it's probably safe, not for rats, obviously. I say leaning against the window.
Well, Bernard is as satisfied by that as he is by anything. But he is going to be staying away from that window.
That's why I'm leaning back on the chair, rocking back and forth by the window.
Yeah.
Anyway, the main course, life is a cabernet, which is just beef in red wine sauce. But it's served with me dressing up in fully Sally Bowles gear and doing a dance routine out from behind the curtain in the kind of like dramatic. Actually, not Sally. I want to be the master of ceremonies. That kind of more vibe, and just come in with that kind of big dramatic serving. I've cooked it as well as I can. Let's see how it turns out. 2. It's cooked amazingly.
Okay. Try again. Oh, yeah. Bernard is mollified by this. He enjoys it. It's he's sort of calming down slightly after his earlier outburst, and sort of generally feeling much more as if maybe the window won't be a problem, and they're not all mocking him behind their fake smiles. So.
Maria dramatically lifts up the beef on her fork and throws it across the room, which, it being a very small room, means it probably just bounces off the corner and back down onto her plate again. She is not impressed, even though she likes the theatricality of the serving of it. Wait. Hang on. I've forgotten. What did you roll? A 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fine. So, because I rolled a 1,
That means you hate
I
it.
have to
But
feel-
if it was a +1, that means you would like it.
Okay, yeah, okay. So let's say that she's being dramatic. She still somehow throws the food around because I've said it now. But she loved the theatricality of the presentation so much that it warmed her soul. Like, she didn't see God in it, but she was warmed by the source. Sorry, I messed up a bit.
That's fine. Right, Mavranwi?
Mavami digs in, and like halfway through, she's sort of like, "What wine did you put in this meal? Like, how much did it cost?"
Well, to us, I actually used the wine from the other 2 nights, which I pretended to serve, like the Ribena. I saved it for the night, so it's both the punchline. I'm very economical in my comedy. It's like, brevity is an amazing form of like wit.
I love the way that you changed that quote to make it longer.
I was about to say, I've read this book. It's a very thick book called Brevity.
It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I think that went very well. But my big regret is realizing that it shouldn't have been life is a Cabernet. It should be beef is a Cabernet. I just left it lying there. Anyway, time for the entertainment. If you'll come with me, please. And I go, actually, no, I'm a writer. Well, the important thing about being a writer is like, writers are kind of, you choose to be a writer. So what I'm trying to do is I'm mainly writing to cracker companies with puns. And I haven't any accepted yet, but people say you've got to get a lot of like rejections before you get accepted. And I've got so many rejections. So I'm really getting somewhere. But I said, I'm a big fan of the Joker. And I just wanted to show you, leads you to the back, and it's a complete remake of the set from the Joker movie with the scene involving the late night comedian, late night show, and it's all that kind of vibe. And he proceeds to do a one-man show of the entire ending of Joker, playing all the parts, including, and he tears off the costume and turns his back and hastily puts stuff on, and he does it, and it's like, ta-da! What do you think of it?
Well, I love Bernard despises it. He's sitting there staring balefully at this. Now he's dressed as a clown. Is there no depths to which he won't sink to mock my inner sorrow? I see now the beef was a trick. This entire evening has been about mocking me and my failed life. And yeah, he loudly shouts this and weeps while the performance is going on.
Maria?
Maria's been infected by Bernard's weeping and is also weeping tears of sadness rather than pleasure. You'd think that she would be more swayed by this theatrical event, this spectacle in front of her, but no, she does not like it. She just sits next to Bernard and weeps softly into his shoulder.
Mavranwi?
Mavranwi is completely oblivious to Maria and Bernard. She loves it. She is so enthralled. She has never seen this film before. It's all new to her. She thinks that clearly this performance is the best performance. She comes up to Joseph afterwards and is like, "So are you a professional actor?" Because that was remarkable, truly.
I'll say remarkable is the word what I was going for, I must admit. I say covered in blood smears and I think that went well. Like powerful reactions all around. Anyway, time to serve his dessert. His dessert is the punch line, which is just some lime punch but turned into ice cream. So it's got like, that kind of vibe. Like homemade ice cream. And that's it. It's very, very simple dish, and it's a slightly green colouring, and it's got a tiny Joker like gummy bear that you drop into it. So it's like the idea of the Joker falling into the poison vat, which of course is the origin of the Joker superhero. Yes, superhero. You heard me. And it went 1. It's a first-class meal. Come at me, bro.
Well, yes, Bernard is very suspicious of this when it comes out. Takes it away from the table, huddles in a corner with it. But once he begins eating it, he kind of continues eating and nodding, but all the while with a very suspicious look on his face in his potato sack in the corner, staring balefully at you all. But, a thumbs up on the whole.
I think Bernard has become very relaxed around us as the week has gone by. Maria.
Seems to be.
Maria starts to sing an opera about how amazing this dessert is. She sees the dropping of the gummy right into as the passage of man's consciousness of God and journey into full spiritual consciousness, and she doesn't stop singing through the rest of the episode.
Stop singing. Mephanwe?
Mephanwe loves it, and she kind of relaxes as she eats her ice cream. So she undoes her bow tie, she undoes her collar, she puts her elbows on the table, which, first class crime. And she seems to just genuinely be enjoying herself. At one point, she laughs at one of Joseph's puns and actually snorts, and then she looks very embarrassed, but she's having a good time.
I think that was amazing. That couldn't have gone better. I think this is a hell of an evening. This is another triumph for the Joker. Right. Now we need to basically do them. Everyone goes into does their final marking. Bernard.
Yep. Bernard. It had its ups. It had some ups and downs. I don't think I should be around people. They're suspicious and strange, and I don't like them. I'm going to get another pet. I give it a 5.
Maria. Mephanwe.
Mephanwe is a bit drunk. The camera kind of zooms in to see that she's smuggled in some of her own champagne, and she is kind of drinking it, and she just grins up at the camera. And she's kind of a bit flushed, and her makeup's smudged a bit. She's like, "That was the best," and she's giving it a 9 out of 10.
Ooh, nice. And now we all go back to the front room, and we will announce winners. As I rapidly try to do maths in my head like an idiot. I forgot how maths works. There we go. Right, I'm going to give this is the roll call for the evening. Everyone gather around, as everyone, of course, is standing within a metre of each other due to this tiny room. In 4th place, we have Mephanwe.
Drinks from her champagne bottle.
And in 3rd place, we have Bernard Toombs.
Oh.
Well done, Bernard.
Oh.
And in 2nd place, we have me. Which leaves the winner is Maria Torino. Now, let's start with Mephanwe going round, ending with Maria. We all get a chance to respond to the results. Mephanwe.
I am absolutely delighted for Maria. I think she's going to go far. I cannot wait to book in our next afternoon coffee. I think we have so much in common, and I really think that I could learn a lot from her, actually.
Yeah. And I'm leaning into I can't like at least I wasn't beaten by the Batman. You know what I mean? As I sort of leaning against the window, it's like if I was going to be beaten by someone, better than Maria, her meal was great, and I just slide off as he falls out the window.
Bernard perks up slightly. Oh, I didn't come last. I feel a new dawn of hope inside me. I think I will get another animal, several other animals, and I'll keep them in my apartment with all the knives and the chocolate, and it'll go all well.
Maria is utterly she is not focusing on being delighted at having won. She's focusing on the spiritual journey that she's undertaken through this week, and is immediately, she's on her phone actually Googling nunneries, and sort of like bats the camera away as she stumbles off in a sort of semi-mystic off to find her new spiritual home somewhere in the Welsh valleys.
And the credits roll, and the music being "What do you do about a problem like Maria" from The Sound of Music.
Yes.
Hey.
Thank you so much for playing, everyone. That's amazing work. And that is basically how to play Come Die Marie. I just say thanks everyone watching. Hope you have fun with it.